The mainstream gun world is totally convinced that the Scout rifle is a dead concept buried in the 1980s. They actually believe you need an 11-pound gas gun covered in fragile electronics just to survive a grid-down scenario. And buying into that tactical hype is exactly how you end up hauling a massive boat anchor through the deep timber. Look, when your lungs are burning and you are tracking through heavy brush, all that extra weight does absolutely nothing but drain your stamina and slow down your first shot. But the survival carbine game just completely shifted for 2026 because the industry finally figured out how to blend old-school reliability with modern modularity. Stop wasting your hard-earned cash on heavy tactical fads until you see these top 7 new utility rifles that actually put serious work in downrange. Kicking off the list at number 7, we have an absolute anomaly that is going to make the traditionalists lose their minds. The Henry SPD Predator is technically a lever action, but it steps into the modern survival arena, swinging heavy. Forget the old tubular magazines your grandfather used to run. This beast feeds straight from standard AR-15 pattern magazines. If you are caught in a grid-down scenario, you can scavenge or share standard 30-round mags without missing a beat. Let's be real, the engineering here is what makes it a standout. Henry built this rig around a free-floated carbon fiber barrel. Why does that matter on a lever gun? It severely dampens barrel whip and harmonic distortion while stripping a massive amount of weight off the front end. That structural rigidity is exactly why this platform guarantees 3-shot sub-MOA groups right out of the box. It slings 5.56 NATO downrange with the precision of a bolt action, but cycles with the lightning speed of a brush gun. Rack in the action feels incredibly slick, and the trigger breaks like snapping a frozen twig. Because of the carbon-wrapped barrel and the intermediate cartridge, the recoil is nothing more than a polite tap against your shoulder. You get a gray laminate stock with a fully adjustable comb to line up perfectly with your glass, and they even throw in a premium bipod from the factory. Look, here is the deal breaker. For a rifle that markets itself as a rugged survival option, Henry completely omitted factory iron sights. You are entirely reliant on your optics. If you take a bad fall on the rocks and smash your primary scope, you are totally out of the fight unless you mounted an offset dot. It is a massive oversight on a rig designed for the wild. Stepping up the game to number 6, we have the CVA Cascade SR80. These guys usually dominate the muzzle loader market, but they tapped into their sister company Beretta to build an absolute workhorse for the center fire crowd. Honestly, this rig is a direct nod to the old school Cooper concept, but updated for modern survival. It is an accessible entry point that sets you back about 920 at the gun counter. Under the hood, this rifle runs a robust 4140 steel receiver paired with a fluid 3 lug bolt featuring a 70-degree throw. Why does that specific angle matter? That shorter throw arc allows you to aggressively cycle the action without slamming your knuckles into the ocular bell of your optic, keeping your eye glued to the glass during rapid follow-up shots. The 18-inch medium contour barrel gives you a slightly longer powder burn than the standard 16-inch guns, squeezing out maximum kinetic energy when it feeds on 350 Legend or 308. Wrapped in a graphite black Cerakote finish to fight off the elements, this barreled action rests in a flat, dark earth synthetic stock that can take a beating. Pulling the trigger feels like snapping a crisp carrot, completely free of any gritty creep. Thanks to the factory-installed radial muzzle brake, the recoil is tamed down to a slow, rolling shove rather than an angry punch. You also get a killer set of Williams gun sights out of the box, featuring a fully adjustable rear peep that can strip down to a fast acquisition ghost ring. Listen, here is the deal breaker on the SR80. While it beautifully embraces the traditional scout roots, it strictly locks you into a forward-mounted Picatinny rail. That means you are totally forced to run long eye relief scout scopes or micro red dots. If you want to bridge the receiver and run a heavy modern 1 to 10 power optic for precision work, you are completely out of luck. It pigeonholes your glass options in a market that is all about modularity. Now we get serious with number 5, the Franchi Momentum Utility Light Elite, commonly known as the M.U.L.E. This crossover hybrid bridges the gap between a sleek European stalking rifle and a gritty American survival carbine. Tipping the scales right at 7 pounds, it is incredibly agile when you are navigating tight timber. The damage to your wallet is around $1,559, positioning it as a premium rig built for close quarters work. Under the hood, this rifle features a 16.25-inch cold hammer forged barrel. That manufacturing process physically pounds the steel blank around a mandrel to create a denser internal grain structure, which manages sustained heat and prevents point-of-impact shifts much better than standard button rifling. When it slings 308 downrange, you would expect a punishing kick from a 7-pound gun. However, the proprietary TSA recoil pad alters the recoil impulse curve, so the kick feels like a firm, controlled shove rather than a sharp jab. The trigger breaks cleanly with zero creep, snapping like a fragile icicle. Looking at the chassis, the stock comes wrapped in a specialized black camo and is heavily packed with modern utility. They molded M.U.L.E slots directly into the forend alongside multiple quick detach sling points. You get a one-piece Picatinny rail and integrated flip-up iron sights straight from the factory. It gives you the complete flexibility to mount heavy glass or run the gun completely slick. Listen, the financial reality of the magazine system is the massive deal breaker here. Franchi ships this rig with proprietary polymer box magazines that will absolutely drain your bank account if you want to stockpile them. Even though the system is uniquely designed to accept AICS patterns, relying on an expensive proprietary primary magazine is a serious headache for a practical survivalist. This M.U.L.E is a very solid piece of gear, but wait until you see the absolute monster waiting at number 1. Turning up the heat with number 4, we have the Beretta BRX-1 Ranch. I know the traditionalists will heavily debate this straight pull setup, so sound off below if you would actually trust this European tech in an American grid-down scenario. Street price runs about $1,669, positioning it as a highly disruptive option in the utility market. Under the hood, the mechanics are totally different from a standard ranch rifle. Instead of a traditional turn bolt, this rig utilizes an 8-lug rotating bolt head that locks directly into a front receiver extension. This means the lockup handles high chamber pressures flawlessly, but cycles purely through a rapid linear push and pull motion, completely eliminating the upward rotation to give you near semi-automatic cyclic rates in dense brush. Looking at the profile, it eats 308 for breakfast through a compact 16-inch cold hammer forged barrel, which is threaded at 5.8 by 24 for your can. Because it weighs an ultralight 6.3 pounds unloaded, the kick from heavy defensive loads is distinctly punchy, hitting your shoulder like a bare-knuckle brawler. Fortunately, the trigger is incredibly crisp, and it breaks like glass under a heavy boot to help you stay on target. Honestly, here is the deal breaker. The straight pull manual of arms takes massive amounts of dry fire retraining if your muscle memory is hardwired to a standard turn bolt. Under severe stress, you might catch yourself instinctively trying to lift that ambidextrous bolt handle upward. effectively binding the weapon up and inducing a nasty user-created malfunction when split seconds dictate terminal performance. Entering the elite tier with number 3, we have the Savage 110 Scout Vibe 2. These guys threw the historical weight limits out the window and built a highly specialized heavyweight platform for the modern marksman, setting you back around 1149 at the counter. This rig tips the scales at a hefty 8.11 pounds unloaded. It is a dense, feature-packed rifle that prioritizes absolute static precision over long-range foot patrols. Looking at the barrel, it features a 16.5-inch medium contour carbon steel tube threaded at 5.8 by 24. But here is the technical magic. It sits inside an advanced synthetic chassis utilizing an integrated aluminum bedding block. This rigid metal-to-metal contact between the action and the stock eliminates microscopic flex during the firing sequence, ensuring heavy 175 grain rounds hit exactly where you aim. Pulling the adjustable accu-trigger feels like shattering a frozen pane of glass, and the brake is completely dead on. Because this rifle carries that extra mass and comes factory equipped with a massive muzzle brake, the kick from heavy 308 loads is heavily mitigated. It gives your shoulder a smooth, rolling wave of pressure, making it an absolute tack driver for continuous overwatch or tripod hunting. The stock even integrates an ARCA rail directly into the molding, allowing you to lock this beast straight into a heavy tripod for ultimate stability across wide-open terrain. Now, here is the deal breaker on the Savage. The sheer physical bulk of this platform makes it a massive liability if you are forced to move fast on foot. By the time you load a 10-round AICS magazine, attach a suppressor, and mount heavy glass on that extended rail, you are easily lugging an 11-pound log up the mountain. It will rapidly drain your energy on a long stalk. Closer to the crown, with number 2, we have the Ruger American Rifle Generation 2 Scout. This platform completely democratizes the utility market by taking features usually reserved for high-dollar custom builds and packing them into a blue-collar rig. You are looking at dropping exactly $929 to take this modular successor home. Looking at the barrel, it utilizes a 16.1-inch cold hammer forge tube that is threaded at 5.8 by 24 for easy suppression. Under the hood, the engineering focuses on maximum bullet stability. It features a 1 in 10 right-hand twist rate, which physically forces the projectile to rotate exactly 1 full revolution every 10 inches, effectively stabilizing heavy 175 grain 308 rounds, so they stay on target when stretching out past 300 yards. Hauling this rig through the timber is a breeze, since it weighs an optimal 6.5 pounds unloaded. The trigger gives you a very predictable wall and breaks cleanly like a dry piece of spaghetti. When it spits lead downrange, the recoil is a sharp rearward thump. However, Ruger built in a modular accessory stock weight kit to help you fight the physics of running a heavy can. By adding mass directly into the buttstock, it pulls the center of gravity back to the receiver, keeping the rifle from feeling sluggish and nose-heavy during fast target transitions. Look, even with the serious upgrades, here is the deal breaker on the Gen 2. The factory finish on the stainless steel bolt combined with the internal cobalt Cerakote raceways creates a noticeable friction point right out of the box. Until you run a few hundred rounds through it and properly burnish the metal surfaces, racking the action feels incredibly zippery and gritty, totally killing that premium feel when you are trying to cycle a fresh round quietly. Taking the absolute throne at number 1, we have the undisputed king of the utility category, the Steyr Scout Mark II. This is the modernized benchmark that perfectly bridges the gap between old-school survival doctrine and modern tactical demands. You are looking at paying exactly $1,875 for this premium European hardware, but it earns the crown easily because it gives you the ultra-lightweight portability of the Ruger at number 2, while delivering the absolute surgical precision of the heavyweight Savage at number 3. Under the hood, this rifle operates on Steyr's proprietary safe-bolt system. Instead of a standard trigger block, it utilizes a 2+1 rotary tang safety, featuring a physical bolt lock position. This mechanism physically locks the firing pin and completely anchors the bolt handle flat against the stock. That means dragging the rifle through thick brush or sliding down a rocky embankment will never result in an accidental discharge or a dead trigger when you need to neutralize a threat. Looking at the front end, it features a 19-inch cold hammer forged fluted barrel that slings .308 downrange with absolute authority. It is finally updated to a standard American thread pitch, allowing you to mount dedicated .30 caliber cans without any weird European adapters. Because the gun weighs an incredibly light 6.8 pounds unloaded, you would expect a brutal kick. Instead, the engineered chassis absorbs the energy beautifully, so the recoil hits your shoulder like a firm shove from a heavy oak door. Racking the bolt is butter smooth, and the 2-stage hunting trigger breaks cleanly like snapping a hardened piece of chalk. Wrapped in an olive drab green polymer stock with an integrated folding bipod, it gives you a massive continuous Picatinny top rail to mount whatever heavy glass you want to run. Plus, the spare magazine storage hidden in the heel means you always have fresh rounds ready to go. Look, the survival rifle concept is no longer bound by the old rules. Whether you need the surgical precision of the Steyr or the sheer speed of the Henry lever gun, modern engineering has completely changed the game. You no longer have to compromise between hauling heavy weight and delivering terminal performance. Do your research, pick the platform that actually fits your specific environment, and master your manual of arms. If you want the raw truth without the fluff, lock it in right here.